Okay, so I was like talking to myself for a little while. Okay, so first off, Stalky merch. We have Leprechaun, St. Patrick's, Stalky merch, lasts till the end of March. And then we have Winter Stalky merch that is going to be taken off the shelves March 20th. If you're interested, links to the merch in the description. Anyways, onto the thingy, the video. Normally I don't cover news-ish kind of stories, but as a Myers main, I feel it would be a sin if I didn't cover this. So, to get on with it, there's been a leak, and according to Leaked by Daylight, I believe, I'll have a screenshot with whoever leaked this. But we're getting a Haddonfield graphic rework, a tome dedicated to the Halloween chapter, and what I'm most excited for is a model rework. Now, out of all these things, you might be thinking, Stalky, why is it that out of all of this, you're the most excited for a model rework? Is it because I want Laurie to look more like Jamie? Yes, but no. It's because I want my boy to look like how he does in the movie. I would love a Laurie rework as well, to have her look like Jamie Lee Curtis. Of course I want that. Why would I not want that? But contrary to what most people think, the mask in the game is actually not what it looks like in the film. Also, Myers is a lot bigger and buffer in the game. In the film, he's actually like, what is it, like 5'10" or something? He's a fairly skinny guy. He's not that big. But the most blatant thing that's different between the two masks is the hair. Myers does not have jet black spiky hair in the original. It's more of a very dark brown color and no spikiness. It's a sort of poofy combed back look. Most certainly not spiky. That's definitely the most notable thing, but the mold is also a little off. The mouth seems to be almost a straight line, and the cheek lines don't seem to be as pronounced. And what confuses me about all of this is that the art for the Evil Within power has the mold spot on, but the mask itself is lacking. I'm assuming it's just because they weren't as experienced in making models back then, so it's completely understandable. It most certainly could have looked worse. If anything, it's better than about every other mask in the Halloween franchise other than like the original and the 2018 one. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the other stuff. The tome centered around Halloween, if they do it right, could be awesome. I would much rather not just have a recap of the original Halloween. We already know what happens in the film. I want to know how they are perceived by the entity and the other survivors, they being Laurie and Michael Myers. I want to know if Myers is cooperative with the entity, or if the entity hates his guts because he doesn't listen and just kills people whenever he wants instead of hooking them.
Mikey, stop it. Mikey, this isn't funny anymore. Mikey, stop! Stop!
If they want to do a combination of both, I'd be really happy with that too. If they maybe went through certain off-screen events in the perspective of Myers and Laurie, it would be cool to see Laurie's first reaction to seeing Myers in the fog again. Maybe she's been up against a few killers and then she sees it again. I'd love to read that. Or maybe there's like a slow build up to it. The survivors are just doing their thing when they find another survivor stuck to the wall with a very large knife, as he does. Or maybe he set up the body in a certain pose of sorts and triggers bad memories for Laurie until eventually they see each other again. That would be awesome to read from her perspective. And of course, a Haddonfield rework is something to be excited over. I want to be able to get Haddonfield and enjoy it. It comes from my favorite horror movie ever, and I would love to be able to enjoy the map instead of groaning whenever I hear the familiar jingle of my people. As of right now, Haddonfield is a little empty, a little soulless, a lack of furniture, and the same wallpaper being used in every house just doesn't feel like Haddonfield. It feels like an empty husk of it, and maybe that's what they were going for. As a Halloween fan, I would just like to feel like I'm in Haddonfield. And a graphics rework to make everything look a little nicer could help a lot with this as well. I think it'd be cool if the streets were dark, but the houses at first are also pretty dark in them as well. But then you light them up, they become these like little beacons of light. But before that, I think it would be awesome if the buildings were extremely dark until generators were lit. A fantastic example of what I would like Haddonfield to look like is actually just in their trailer for the chapter. Look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's dark and feels like Halloween night. I love how dark the structures themselves are, as well as everything else in the trailer. The music used, Mikey's mask looks a bit better here, especially in the shadows. I think the shadows help a lot. Lori looks pretty good herself. The creaking of the wooden stairs and flooring. I think it's just so well done. Easily their best trailer in my personal opinion. They did a fantastic job on it. In my vision of Haddonfield, once they were to do a gen in this house, it would, of course, light it up. But I basically just want Haddonfield to feel like a cold October night, but, like, right now, it just kind of feels like a summer night. It just feels a little too bright, I guess, in my opinion. As a Halloween fan, actually being able to enjoy Haddonfield would make me extremely happy. I know they've said they don't plan on changing Myers and find him to be in a good spot, but I would still like it if they tweaked him a bit just to be a bit more fun to play. Don't get me wrong, he's tons of fun, and he's not a bad killer, he's a good killer. It just happens that with everyone getting buffs and stuff, he happens to be a bit more on the weaker side. That doesn't mean he himself is like weak, I just say like he's like a little below average. Like, he's not bad at all, but there are just a few small things that I think would make him a bit more fun to play. Aus's community had the idea of an easier way to get up tier 1, and I really love it. Basically, you can just stalk someone like normal, but if you hit someone, it automatically 99s tier 1, and this would make tier 1 way less frustrating. Or if they don't want to do that, maybe like if you hit someone in tier 1, it does it like halfway, like you get half of the stock meter for it or something like that. That could be really nice. You'd have to decide whether it'd be better to stock or to just go for the smack. It would make tier 1 a little less it'd make it a little bit more of a tool, like it'd make it a bit more interesting, less of a slog, having him being able to tier up like Oni via a button press instead of having to 99 and then stock once more to tier up from tier 1, and tier 2 would be nice as well, just so you don't have to, you know, it's just a little quality of life change. A small tier 3 buff would be nice as well. I just feel it pales in comparison to Oni's big tier up, considering the extra tier Myers has to go through to get it. I would suggest either making him 120% movement speed or giving him a sort of fire up effect in tier 3, one of the two, making him just a bit more terrifying in tier 3. But if they don't want to make tier 3 better, that's completely fine. I would still like the little quality of life changes just to make tier 1 a little less annoying, and also just no more accidental tier 3 kind of situations. And that wouldn't really be a buff, it's just a pure quality of life thing. The Oni tier up thingy, that thing. But all in all, extremely excited for this Halloween chapter if it's true. I really hope it is. I hope the leak comes through, ends up being true, all of that. Would love to see more Halloween content. An updated Halloween chapter and kills coming out in October sounds like an amazing time for Halloween. Anyways, thank you all so much for your time and watching this. I'll just go ahead signing off. You have a great one. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.